everyone! Back a few weeks ago, I made a video on Bart, a well-known famous streamer on multiple social media platforms. It was a video requested by my little brother. It was in regards to a video that Joe Bartolozzi made talking about why he doesn't believe in God. Him personally, he didn't attack religion, he didn't attack Christians, he didn't attack Jewish people, he didn't attack Muslims. He just explained why he didn't believe in God. It was a short video. It was not that long, maybe 20 minutes if I'm remembering correctly, since I haven't watched it in a while. It wasn't that long. So some of his points weren't extensively made. They were expressed, but he didn't go into full detail. So I wanted to agree with my brother and make a video about his video, going into any detail I can to, even though he didn't go into detail, at least express something that I can in response to that to maybe help those who also struggle in the way that Joe struggles. One of the things that Joe mentioned was that he would like to believe in God, but he feels that he can't, and that is a very unfortunate thing. So he's not atheist. He is agnostic, so he doesn't necessarily believe in a higher being. He doesn't necessarily believe in the God of Christianity or any God for that matter, but he's not completely cut off from accepting that idea, accepting the concept of there being a God. He just struggles to accept and truly believe that. So in the video, I responded to some of the points he makes, explained maybe better reason, because some of the things that he expressed were more so questions, rhetorical questions, but I felt like I could have made a proper response to them, so I did. And so I was making a response to those things that he mentioned, those questions and statements that he presented. Even though they weren't extensive, I still felt like I should make them anyways for those who maybe have the same thoughts that he has. I said I would make a part 2 because he had a part 2 and he has other videos regarding his belief. In his part 2 about why he doesn't believe in God, it is a more extensive video. It's about an hour long or almost an hour long, and it is due to the fact that the first video he made, of course, got a lot of response by others, negative and positive, and he reacted to a video of a Christian who was on stream and made a response to Joe's original video about why he doesn't believe in God, and then Joe, his part 2, is in reaction to that guy's response in referral to Joe's first video. I'll start off by saying, like I did in the last video, this is not to bring judgment upon anyone. It's not to feel like or express that I'm more superior than anyone or better than anyone, or I know more than someone else because of this and that and yada yada yada. That's not what this is. It's just informal. I want to bring to the table and present what needs to be presented, what should be presented to hopefully help people. I was originally deciding to make the response in regards to Joe's points and his expression, the things that he presented in part 2. And although some of the things that he said I do have an answer for, or I don't want to say a better answer for, but I guess just different reasoning or understanding over it as to why certain things are regarding what he presented as a question or a statement regarding his own belief. There were some points that I definitely could and probably should bring up, but for this video I don't really want to focus on what Joe said, but more so what the Christian streamer said. Not necessarily specific things that he said, but how he presented what he said. There's a verse that Jesus says, and I'm reading in the book of Mark. It's one of the Gospels about Jesus Christ, the good news of Jesus Christ, and it's in chapter 12, and I want to read verse 29 through 31, where Jesus says, "The first of all the commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is like, namely, this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment greater than these. We read in the Gospels where Jesus says also to love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. I don't want to focus on the persecution itself. That I mean persecution in referral to Christians, because Joe didn't necessarily do any persecuting towards Christians. He didn't come across, at least in my opinion, entirely disrespectful. He just was putting out his point of view, his perspective, and why he doesn't believe in God. He was not necessarily trying to disrespect any religion, disrespect those of the religion. He just wanted to express why he doesn't believe in God, the struggles that he faces, which result in why he doesn't believe in God, and so on. He was not trying to present disrespect. So this is not about persecution referral to Christians, but more so persecution from Christians. This might be a little bit controversial. I don't want to focus on persecution entirely, but I do want to bring that up. I'm not saying the streamer who was a Christian responding to Joe is not a good Christian. And I'm not saying that he doesn't love his neighbor or his enemies. I'm just saying maybe the way he could have presented the video to Joe could have been better. Presented it with maybe a little bit more sympathy, more compassion, understanding, and love. Myself, a Christian, did not feel any of those things coming from the other Christian. Now, I understand what he was trying to do. All he's trying to do is spread truth and spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, get souls saved, as we should. And I don't blame him for that. I don't want to try to take that away from the other Christian. That itself is good. Him trying to get truth across is good and loving, but the way he presented it wasn't. Some of the things that he said were ill treatment or presented in an ill treatment way towards Joe. Where the persecution comes in, because persecution doesn't only mean killing. It simply just means some form of ill treatment. That can come from any side. Things have been persecuted, and people have been persecuted by Christians. And this is not me judging the other Christian or attacking him. This is just me saying what has been expressed and why it is wrong. It's the form of persecution that the other Christian expressed towards Joe in a response towards Joe in his video was ill treatment. He obviously didn't kill him. That's why Joe was able to make the video that he did in response to him. But he gave him ill treatment in not only the things that he said, but the way that he presented himself. Not be doing that as Christians. That is not the way we should be trying to lead people closer to God, because honestly, all that does is push people further away. I'm not saying you shouldn't debate people. Debate is actually in the Bible. There was debate among Pharisees. There was debate among disciples. Debate is a good thing. Yes, can bad things arise out of it? Can it be bad at times? Yes, but I think debate overall is a good thing, because that's how communication is formed, and then that's how truth is presented. And even if one side doesn't accept it or agree, at least that communication is flowing, because you at least want to try. To see each other's point of view is a form of connection between you and that person. That's very important, because that's how bonds are built. I mean, you build a bond with that person. You build a relationship with that person. I'm not saying a debate is wrong or them going back and forth is the wrong thing. I'm not saying that the Christian did something wrong by responding to Joe's video. I'm just saying the way that he presented it could have been more respectful, a little bit more loving. For that is what we as Christians should do. Yes, is it okay to be strict? Is it okay to be harsh? Is it okay to let out a side that's a little bit, I guess, full of anger, as long as it's righteous? Yes, that's okay. It's okay to be bold for your faith. I'm not saying you can't have a little sass or a little sarcasm or a little joke here and there, but there's a difference between all of those things versus literally presenting yourself in the form of hate. Saying the Christian is a hater. I'm not saying he hates people. I'm not saying he hates his enemies or those who don't have the same belief as him. But again, presentation is important. That's how he presented it, in the form of ill treatment. I would debate, ill treatment is a form of hate. Jesus told you to do a good thing in referral to persecutors against you. Then why would you want to do the opposite of that and instead persecute others? in the form of ill treatment, presentation, and the wrongfully said things that you say. Anything that pushes people further away, that pushed Joe further away. Joe himself acknowledges that not all Christians act the way that he acted, but also you have to acknowledge collectively as a whole, for those who watch it, that obviously did not bring Joe closer to God from a bystander point of view. Instead, I'm not saying the Christian hasn't, but instead of presenting persecution, instead present love. Even if it's harsh, even if it's tough, still present love and love only, and pray for Joe. I don't know if he prayed for Joe or not, but the way he already presented himself makes me think he wouldn't have. I don't want to make a false judgment, so I'm not going to speak on that, but I am just going to suggest prayer for those who persecute you, prayer for those who are your enemies, prayer for those who don't have the same belief as you, like Joe. Continue to spread the gospel, continue to teach what the Bible says, but also it's okay to go outside of that as long as it only redirects Joe back to God. And if Joe doesn't accept, that's fine, because his relationship with God is personal. All you have to do is encourage and guide. Keep that up. Keep up the truth giving. Keep up the gospel expression. Keep up sharing what the Bible says, but also be willing to hear his perspective and dig into that to get to know him better, and then further explain something properly, full of love and sympathy and understanding. Love your neighbor as thyself. I'm not saying he doesn't love Joe, but love isn't just an emotion, it's an action. You should present it. Throughout the video, throughout the stream, and only 3-4 minutes in, only those first 3-4 minutes was just full of him, the Christian, giving attitude, false statements, taking things out of context, and redirecting it in a way that shouldn't have been redirected, and presenting it wrongfully. His entire 3 to 4 minutes was a terrible presentation for that Christian. Throughout pretty much the whole video. Now, the Christian, he did make some good points. And the reason I'm saying Christian is just because I don't remember his name, but I definitely will add it on the screen once I find out. But he did make some good points, but he also made some bad points, and he presented them wrong or not so well. He could have done better, which that's fine, you know. We're not perfect, and we could always improve in how we do things, especially in debates or presentation, speaking, all that stuff. So I'm not like coming at him for that, but that on top of the other things that he did, it was just a mess. So watch the video yourself. There are things that he shouldn't have said. I'm referring to the young man trying to show Joe a deeper understanding of Christianity. Keyword there is trying. He just could have done things better. He had a wrong attitude. He didn't show sympathy or love or care or anything. It's out of context. There were a couple times he lied, said false statements. For example, one of the rude things that he said was, "What a waste of a senior paper." I'm gonna say that's not even harsh. That's the bare minimum. It's just being a little tough love. But I would argue in that case it wasn't, because I don't think Joe writing his senior paper on his belief and why he doesn't believe in God and all that stuff is actually very important, because it leads to conversations like these. And these conversations are important because if you want to share the gospel, then you must know those things. So I don't think that senior paper was a waste, because look at what you're doing now. You're trying to spread the gospel with Joe because you know that about him. But you're not doing it right, and you're not spreading other information, not just the gospel, but information from the Bible as a whole, and God as a whole, and Christianity as a whole to Joe. You didn't do that right. A waste of a senior paper. That was wrong for him to say. There were a couple times in the video where he would state something that Joe said, and Joe would respond like, "I didn't say that. I clearly did not say that. You can go watch the video for yourself," yada, yada, yada. Where, the lying part comes in. Saying that Joe said statements, or at least he rephrased statements in ways that expressed a different idea than the way that Joe originally presented. And that caused an issue between the two. You have a Christian who made a video about Joe, and has a bad attitude. He's presenting it illfully. He's already saying nasty things, not really being compassionate or understanding, not expressing love, and then he goes and rephrases things and interprets things wrong or presents things that Joe didn't actually say. And then you have Joe's video in response to that where he's getting angry. He's like, I didn't say that, yada yada. As a Christian, yes, there's going to be times when even if you do say something right, people are still going to get mad at you or yell at you or get angry with you, no matter what. But I would say that the only reason that happened was because he phrased what he said in a wrongful way. There's no need to rephrase what Joe said or present it anything other than what Joe said, because that just causes an issue and pushes people away from God, when what you're trying to do is lead that person or those people closer to God. Just remain truthful to the best of your ability and based off the knowledge that you know, and then respond based off of that. There's no need to rephrase or present things other than what has been presented, if necessary. So again, I just wanted to make my part 2 for Joe Bart based off of that. Again, this is not judgment, not hate, not trying to seem like I'm better than someone else, yada yada yada. I didn't even finish the whole video. I probably should have. But it was too much of the whole back and forth and the same presentation of one side of Joe who's remaining respectful and calm for primarily the whole video. There were parts, like I said, where he got angry, visibly angry, but for the most part he was very respectful and calm. And then you have the Christian on the other side who is calm but not respectful, and then it's just a consistent process over and over again. It's like, why am I even watching this? I understand Joe's point of view better because the Christian isn't even acting like a Christian. It's not hard to sit through something like that and watch it when it's not even anything that you can relate to as a person, because it's a false representation of you. It's a false representation of me as a Christian. I don't want to sit through and watch something like that. From what I did watch, that is just what I wanted to express to you all watching this. For the second part, in response to Joe and why he doesn't believe in God, this is not necessarily anything in response to Joe himself, but more so in response to the one who responded to Joe. There are things that we can do better as Christians. If we're going to call ourselves Christians, we must reflect Christ. That didn't really reflect Christ. Go watch the whole video for yourself, or some of it. I don't know how much of it other people will finish either. I could barely sit through it. But I'll show it on the screen right here, so you guys can go watch it yourself if you want to, just like I did in the last video. And again, this is not hate, this is not me trying to judge anyone or seem superior or anything like that. It's just me trying to spread awareness and hopefully a better understanding from a Christian perspective. Those who have watched this video enjoyed it, and I all hope you have a good morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are. God bless.